Well, hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, NoleFam, to another episode of Novak Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Marko Milenković, and joining me again from Italy is my friend Mario Boccardi. Mario, buddy, how are you? It's great to talk to you again.
Hi everyone. Still super happy to be here. A Grand Slam is starting, and so it feels pretty special because when it's this Grand Slam environment, I'm always super pumped right before the start. Especially the first week, it's super fun. A lot of matches, a lot of courts, a lot of tennis going on all the day. So I'm super happy and happy to be here talking with you.
Yeah, it's great to hear that. So it's 10 a.m. Monday, August 28th, the first day of the US Open. We were supposed to record this yesterday, but unfortunately it wasn't, it hasn't been the best 24 hours for me. My sister got, sick yesterday. She was in a really bad condition. We took her to see three doctors, three different clinics, and we ended up leaving the last one, way into the night. Thankfully, she's doing much better now, but I still have to take her to do some testings as soon as we finish recording this. That's why today's episode will be a bit shorter. We'll solely do the US Open draw and give our predictions. However, on our next week's episode, we'll give our thoughts on some other big storylines in tennis, like John Isner and Mikhail Ymer retirements, WTA finals possibly going to Saudi Arabia, and reactions from the tennis world in regards to that. Videos of Rafa back in training, and so on. But okay, so that would be it to start this episode and to start the U.S. Open and Novak's return to New York. Mario, how great it is to have Novak back in New York City. I mean, we talked last week about Novak being back in the US when he played Cincinnati, but New York is something else. This is the US Open. This is a Grand Slam, and on top of all of that, he hadn't had a let's say great luck during the last couple of years. I mean, after he won in 2018, there was some stretch of bad luck following in the following years. We remember in 2019 it was the retirement against Stan Wawrinka. In 2020, that infamous DQ. In 2021, that's probably the only non bad luck tournament where he where he lost to Daniil Medvedev in the final, and Daniil totally deserved it. He played one of the best matches of his career. And obviously last year when, he was basically, banned from entering the country. So after 5 years, Novak is, again, the favorite to win this year's US Open. We saw some great footage, some great photos, from the days following the start of the tournament, his practices, media day. 2 days ago, there was this, I don't know what is it called. Maybe it's part of the, the media day programs where, he had all those, mic'd up moments, dude's perfect.
Yeah.
Basically, an entertainment kind of show for the fans and for the fans. So how do you feel about, seeing Novak back in New York again?
I mean, it's great. It's amazing. We already understood that during that infamous Cincinnati final against Alcaraz, how good is for the sport that all the best players in the world are allowed to compete in a Grand Slam. We saw how much Novak is motivated and how much he is enjoying being close to the fun, being also in the tennis environment, because Novak has become really, really important, even when it comes to relationship with fellow players. He is a guide. He seems like a guide for a lot of his colleagues who've seen him the right way to proceed to try to make their careers better. And also for the fans, it's amazing. We saw how much of a queue there was for his training sessions, and also we saw how special it has been having him playing some mini tennis in Times Square.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of other things that has also other players has had an important role this in this preparation week with the fans and all the stuff. But when it comes to, I mean, Djokovic is the main star, of course, of this US Open. First of all, because he is the guy who won the most in history, but also because, I mean, he is also the let's say the last man standing of the great old generation, because with Nadal is not there, and same is Federer, or I don't know, someone like in the female tennis like Serena Williams or Sharapova are not here anymore. And so all the attention, of course, is on Novak Djokovic, because he represents the great old generation, that entire generation, I think, also. So he, of course, is getting great attention for who he is, but also because he is the legend present in this tournament, and especially the men's tennis right now is really, really, let's say, young in terms of the age of the top players.
Yeah, I mean, it's only, it's basically Novak, Andy, and Stan Wawrinka and Gael Monfils.
Yeah, I mean, if you, for example, if you talk about the top 20 after Novak, the oldest ones are Norrie and Medvedev, who are 27, and the others are even younger. We have a lot of millennials players we also know in the top 20, like starting from numbers 17, 18, Musetti, and in the top 10 we have Sinner, Rune, of course Alcaraz not even I mean, into the discussion.
No need to mention it.
Yeah, so it's also important, and even for a mediatic point of view, having a lot of players from different generation with different things to offer to the fans.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about that last week, and I really think it's great that this transition in tennis is going, as smoothly as possible. I don't know about you, but when I talk, football with my guys, on our Serbian podcast and live streams, there's this thing in football, and I mean, because you love and follow football, when generations, when there's a change of generations, especially when it comes to the national team, usually that team sees and experiences a major decline if that change is not done in a right way. Right now we have that transition going smoothly because we have Novak at 36 at his best. We have a couple of other oldies, Andy and Stan and Gael Monfils, as I mentioned, still fighting and still providing interesting matches and interesting tennis, and just them as personalities being there adds up to this, plus all the younger ones, like you said, Daniil Medvedev, Tsitsipas, and even the younger ones, Carlitos, Rune, Sinner, and guys like that. So that's a great thing. One thing I also liked about Novak's during this media weekend or pre-tournament activities is we saw a picture of him and Leo Messi, which is, I mean, and the guys who listen to this or read our posts on Patreon know that I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm a Cristiano guy, but I'm always really happy when I see two greats, two sports greats, meet up, which was the case in New York when Novak and Leo Messi linked up. What was your favorite moment during this, as I said, pre-tournament weekend? Was it something that Novak said, his press conference, I don't know, his water drop appearance, PTPA meetings, or something from his practices?
Well, there's been a lot of nice moments, in my opinion. I really like, for example, watching after their practice sessions, Novak really talking for really a lot, probably 15, 17 minutes with Daniil Medvedev and his team, joking around. And I think that I really like this approach, because he's he's putting himself into the tennis environment, even if almost all the guys are at least 9-10 years younger, even if basically they all want to dethrone him, but he likes and enjoys to be in this position. And I really like the way, especially in this past couple of years, he has really been, a star in the sky for the young guys, which are always have always the opportunity to talk with him, and to I don't want to say have some advices, because I think that with the main rivals, no advice is given. But still, I don't know, finding yourself well into the tennis world and environment. And for example, I really liked, even for example, the PTPA night, when they organized an evening for the players. And it's always good, because it's it's a way for the players to engage with each other, and also sometimes to think about someone else, and to not always see the other guys and the other women as 100% their rivals and their enemies, because the tennis match is over. And I like that we can have a good relationship with each other. I felt the tour in a good place from that point of view in these days.
Yeah, I'm really, glad you said that about Novak, because I really think that he took this role as an, elder statesman, honestly. And if we actually could have seen something like that, during the ceremony at the Cincinnati, because it basically looked like, father and son relationship between Novak and Carlos, and I really liked, that, honestly. So
for me, it's also a matter of if you have some empathy, if you have a heart, how it feels to be 20 and to lose in the final against another great champion. And how it feels, how to and you really respect that, because I think that, as I said many times, you have to embrace the new rivalries. You have to you really have to embrace what the tennis world is offering to you right now, if you want to be still motivated and willing, and have that willingness to go ahead to try to win again and again.
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, let us go to the US Open draw. A lot of comments about Novak's luck or a lucky draw. I don't know what's your opinion about it. To be honest, he did have, let's say, some luck, but it's, in my opinion, very well deserved luck, because in the past he was the one, again, on the opposite side, having to go through much tougher draws. So let me hear your thoughts. Again, I mean, his path to the finals, to the title, looks like this, based on seeding. So tonight he's going to face Alexander Miller from France in round 2. It'll probably be Bernab, Zapata, Miralles. I mean, against both players, the head-to-head is, I mean, it's non-existent. He never played against those two guys. In the third round, it'll probably, I mean, I'm hoping Laszlo Djere, who's the 32nd seed, and Novak has a 1-0 head-to-head record against him. Fourth round, again, solely based on seeding.
It was a some match, that one.
Yeah. Fourth round, again, as I said, based on seedings, it should be Felix Auger-Aliassime, but he's been having a very rough patch. Bad tournaments, bad displays in Canada, Cincinnati. So we'll see who he will face in the fourth round. We'll talk about that in more details when I finish this exposition. Quarterfinals again should be Stefanos Tsitsipas. Semis Holger Rune or Casper Ruud, fourth or fifth seed, and in the finals, I think that most of the tennis world is expecting Carlos Alcaraz and another epic match between the two, but it should easily be Daniil Medvedev. So what are your overall reactions and thoughts on the draw before we dive deeper into Novak's half?
My first reaction is that it is unacceptable that a Grand Slam is not making the fans watching the draw ceremony and just revealing the draw. To be honest, I don't really like that.
Why? Let me ask you, why do you think they made that decision?
I don't really know. I don't want to have conspiracy theories, to be honest.
No.
I don't really know. I don't really know. I'm saying this right now just because, I think that Novak Djoković can't complain for the draw he got. And so I'm saying this right now just because, nobody can attack me if I say this right now. I just find this unacceptable that every year, and not just this year, unacceptable that these big events just reveal the draw and don't show it. I don't like it. As you said, I think that the draw is pretty soft in terms of, of course you're going to have some good players around you because it's a Grand Slam. But considering the fact that, in my opinion, the most important difference about the top and the bottom half is that I think that for what we have seen in the past at the US Open or in these past weeks or in this season, 2023 season, I think that the two most dangerous players besides Djokovic and Alcaraz are Medvedev and Sinner, and they both are in the top half of the draw.
What do you think? Let me ask you quickly. What do you think about Zverev?
Zverev can also be dangerous. He had a little bit up and downs this year, but overall he won a 500 title not much long ago. And Zverev is also in the top half, for example. So it's also a player whose matchup is not that easy for Djokovic. We saw that in the past, but even in Cincinnati, it was a straight sets win, but could have gone
very difficult.
Could have been different,
tightly contested. Yeah,
could have been different. So I think that overall, Djokovic can't complain. Yeah, Rune has been a tough matchup lately for Djokovic, but still a bit of a question mark around him because he's been winless between Toronto and Cincinnati. He's not
injury concerns.
Yeah, also a little bit of an injury concern. He's not having the best moment of his life right now on the tennis court. So, semis, it's still a long way. That's why I think that given the record at the US Open, still better having Rune in your own half than Medvedev.
And Casper Ruud as well, who again had a very disappointment post Wimbledon.
Yeah, better Casper Ruud than Yannick Sinner, for example, in my opinion. And also there is Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas can be a dangerous player. Djokovic has still won the last 10 times against him. So I think that he cannot complain. If I have to be honest, I think that I don't know. No, maybe I'm going too far. So let's say just this. Giving a first sight to the draw, I think that he can't complain. With all, I don't know, with all my willingness, I have to say that it was difficult to imagine a better draw.
Yeah, but let us take a look at the draw. I mean, we can see it on screen. This is section 8. This is Novak's section of the draw, of the bottom part. And as you can see, the highest ranked player is Felix Auger-Aliassime, which, I mean, I talked about him previously, a very disappointing season post Wimbledon season. Bad displays in Toronto and Cincinnati. Apart from that, I mean, he might not even make it to the fourth round. I heard and I saw a lot of other tennis experts saying that Francisco Cerundolo could possibly upset him, if we can call that an upset.
Auger-Aliassime has a very, very tricky first round because Mackenzie McDonald is really no joke on these courts. So I'm going to say that given that you can't face the other top 32 guys, I think that McDonald is one of the worst first round you can get at a US Open. Francisco Cerundolo is having a really solid season, getting a good result here and there pretty much on each surface, and even in some big events, a couple of Masters quarterfinals, second week at the French Open. So he's having a solid season, a title on grass, the quarters in Miami on hard courts. So, but it's difficult not to imagine Djokovic in the quarterfinal watching this draw.
Do you see any possible, let's say, upset in this, Novak section?
The fact is that I'm not going to consider upset, for example, McDonald beating Auger-Aliassime. I think that I don't know if Felix will find form again for this US Open, but I think that in the fourth round Novak is likely to play either McDonald or Cerundolo, in my opinion. Probably Nakashima can beat Jere, in my opinion. I think that Jere and Nakashima are the favorites then to win the second round and to face Novak in the third round. Who wins in this clash between Jere and Nakashima? I don't think that Vesely is in the right moment to even reach the fourth round and face Djokovic. I think that it's super, super far, and I don't think that he's in the place right now to think about getting to the second week. I don't think that Djokovic should have big issues with Müller and Zapata Miralles or Quinn in the first two rounds. So I'm really saying that I find it difficult to not imagine him getting to the quarterfinals.
Okay, let us check the Tsitsipas section, which is again the one that Novak will hopefully face starting from the quarterfinals. So as you can see, the reason why I say Tsitsipas is section because he's the highest ranked player in this part as the 7th seed. But we also have Taylor Fritz and another name I would mention. Again, something that a lot of tennis experts that I listen to have predicted basically is Musetti to advances from this section. What are your thoughts on that, buddy?
I don't think that I think that Fritz can, even if Kecmanovic is not in the best moment right now, I think that Fritz can better lose to Kecmanovic than Musetti for a matchup matter. I honestly think that Raonic in the first round is really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
Probably Raonic can feel the match is going further in the draw, but given that this is a first round clash, I think that, for example, Tsitsipas still has to win his first set against Raonic. He is 2 love down in the head to head, having always lost in straight sets. And I think that this is one to watch. Tsitsipas against Raonic. I think that it can be a really, really close and tight battle. To be honest, I think that Dominic Stricker can really have a nice tournament. He's a Swiss guy I am watching around for some, let's say, a couple of years right now, and I think that he can do really, really well. Then we know Eubanks and Musetti are there. They are having good results this year, and the ranking shows that. And even if Fritz hasn't gone deep in slams lately, I think that I probably would give Tailored Fritz the edge over the other guys to eventually reach the quarterfinal here. I think that Fritz can really do it, but I still think that it won't be an easy matchup eventually against Kecmanovic. Overall, my bet is on Tailored Fritz.
I'm glad you said that about Raonic and Tsitsipas match, because we shared our opinion, and I honestly think that Milos Raonic can even eliminate Stefanos Tsitsipas in the first round of this year's US Open. Do you think that's a possibility, or is it solely going to be an really tough match for the Greek?
It's a possibility, in my opinion. I don't know if I would be bold enough to bet on Raonic, but if you are prospecting me that as a possibilities, I'm going to say yes for sure. Even because Tsitsipas suffers a lot against these players who have this big serve. We know that his return game is not really, really, really the best on tour, and so I think that against this kind of service, Tsitsipas can suffer a lot. We also know how the US Open has never been a good place for him throughout these last years. Losing to Alcaraz in 2021, even if we all know what happened after that. But it was really close to lose even against Murray that year, losing to Galan last year. Basically never been in the second week of the US Open. So yeah, for me it's a possibility. Especially considering that first round clash, Raonic can enter the court fresh in terms of his the physical part of the game.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Rune's section. Over here, again, Holger Rune is the highest ranked player, but I think
this is a great section.
I think one other name can advance through this section, and my pick would be Tommy Paul. It's very interesting. We have a lot of interesting players, a lot of players that can surpass the expectations. So let me hear you about Rune's section of the draw.
This is a great section of the draw. We have Holger Rune, we have Tommy Paul, we have Bublik and Thiem facing each other in the first round. We have Lechka, we have Ben Shelton. There is Davidovich Fokina, who is my personal pick to advance to the quarterfinals.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, I think that he has a good chance to go that deep.
So how is his back? Because he had to retire against Novak in Cincinnati.
I think
Have you?
that the back issues should not be really, really. Let's say this. I also think that when you got to the semis in Canada, and you feel something in the back, and you know that in 2 weeks' time the U.S. Open starts, you don't want to risk that much. In my opinion, I think that he should be fine for what I watched in the practice sessions of this U.S. Open. So let's say that Paul and Davidovich Fokina are two very, very informed players. They did really, really well. They both have been semi-finalists in Canada. Paul, we know how close has been to beat Alcaraz. He beat him in Canada, and how close he's been to win against him also in Cincinnati. Over 3 hours for the Spaniard to win that match. And overall, I mean, there are other players who, in a good day, can beat basically everyone. Because, for example, Ben Shelton and Alexander Bublik are not that much consistent, but they, in a good day, they can play a really, really solid tennis. Lechka is an informed guy. For me, this is a great section. I will watch it with a lot of interest. For Rune, it's not that easy, because we know how difficult has been this summer for him. But let's see if he's going to be able to find form again suddenly for the Grand Slam. I think it's not going to be that easy for him. If he's not going to reach the quarterfinal in this Grand Slam, I don't think that we can call that a big disappointment, because for how the summer has been going for him, for me, it's right now, it's not easy to predict him having a super, super deep run.
Let us switch quickly to Casper Ruud's section. Anything that we should watch out here? I mean, we have Francis Tiafoe in his section. A lot of people mentioned Martin Fucsovics as a potential, let's say, dark horse or surprise in this section. Give me your quick thoughts about this section.
Yeah, let's say that, of course, we know that Korda retired from Winston-Salem last week due to a knee issue, which seemed, I think concerning is the right word. We all know that Korda has great qualities, but I mean, there is this concern about his physical state. Fucsovics is also a player who can play well. We saw, for example, 2018 US Open, if you remember that match against Djokovic. JJ Wolf has great qualities. Casper Ruud, yes, you're right, but we also know that Casper Ruud in best of 5 is always very, very, very difficult to beat.
I mean, he was the last year's finalist.
Yeah, I mean,
losing to Carlos Alcaraz, played 2 finals.
And
Garros.
finalist in 3 out of the last 6 Grand Slam events. So it's a player who usually knows how to solve problems in the best of 5 format. Tiafoe was in the semis last year, taking Alcaraz to the 5th set. But probably, I don't know, probably it's not the best moment, even if we know playing in the US Open should pump him up. And so I think that he can do really well. But eyes on even on Manarino, who's having a great season. In fact, 22nd seed for him is amazing. He's having a great year.
So who would be your pick from this section to advance?
My pick is still Casper Ruud.
Casper, what do you think about what I said about tennis experts? Let's call them like that, picking Martin Fucsovics as a possible upset in this section.
Fucsovics is really, really great. I still think that he has too many up and downs during his matches, and I think that even if Rude is not living the best moment of his life, but if you have these ups and downs against Rude, he can punish you, and then it becomes really, really difficult to bounce back.
Okay, let's talk quickly about the top half of the draw. I mean, we'll start with Daniil Medvedev, and as we can see, some interesting players in these sections. Primarily Alex de Minaur, who made the finals in Canada, losing to Yannick Sinner.
Yeah,
There's
beating Medvedev on his road.
Yeah, there's also Borna Čorić and Purcell, who also had a really good tournament.
Čorić will face again Sebastian Baez. They played the 3 hours 20 semi-final in Winston-Salem on Friday, and Baez won at the deciding set tiebreak and then went on to win the title. So it's going to be an interesting first round clash because of what we already saw last week. Jarry is a good player, very good, playing great lately.
What do you think about Dusan Lajovic?
Dusan Lajovic, I mean, I would never face him in the first round of a Grand Slam. And Nishikori, not there anymore, has to be said. Nishikori retired, withdrew from the tournament. I think that Lajovic has the qualities to do very good things on the tennis court. Everyone saw that. I would also say that wild card Michelsen is the one to watch. I had this feeling during the challenger matches I went in. I watched him playing. I think that he can be a player able to put on some really good stuff at the US Open, in my opinion. Of course, not worth to mention Daniil Medvedev. He kind of has an easy first round clash, given the fact that Ballas has a lot of physical issues lately. Do I have to make a pick? It's difficult here.
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to. But is there? I mean, the most important, or the only important question here is, should Daniil Medvedev fear any of these guys? Do you see anyone upsetting him in his section?
Yes, but I think that he can eventually win.
Okay.
Even with these issues to face, because in this section there can be issues, in my opinion.
Okay, quickly to Andrei Rublev's section again, which crosses paths with Daniil Medvedev's in the quarterfinals. Karen Khachanov is there. John Isner, who announced his retirement. Matteo Berrettini, Fees, a lot of interesting players, but one name that I would single out as I'm not even sure if we can call it an upset, is Hubert Hurkacz, who would, in my opinion, be my pick to advances through this section. I don't know what you think of it, but give me your thoughts on it.
Yeah, Hurkacz Grand Slams, not really a love story. But it can easily be, as you say. I would say that even with the physical issues he has suffered lately, I think that Jack Draper can be a dark horse in this section, if his body wants to. I always like Ugo Humbert's tennis. I think that he has the quality to peak against the big guys of this sport. Then we have Taro Daniel, Gael Monfils, Rusuwori. To be a first round for Rublev is not that easy. one of the best unseeded players. I don't know why. I can't take my eyes away from that name, and it's Jack Draper. I don't
Jack
know why.
Draper.
I think that
Well,
he has great qualities. He has great qualities and a body made of glass. But if his body wants to, I think that he can be the dark horse in this section.
What do you think about John Isner's chances at this year's US Open? I mean, I said he announces his retirement. This will be his last tournament. How far can he go?
I think that he has a difficult first round. I mean, for being this year's John Isner, not that in general it would be that impossible to beat Diaz Acosta at the US Open. But that guy is young, growing up very well. Probably John Isner can put some pressure on his shoulders. So why not? Maybe he will be able to win that first round. But in my opinion, it won't be that easy as it may seem for maybe some fans who don't really know the Challenger Tour and these things. But I think that given that we are playing his farewell event in the US Open, I think that he will be able to win that match.
Okay.
Then how far he can go, I don't think that much. But saying goodbye by not losing first round, it's a good result.
Okay, and ultimately, let us check the upper part of the top half. It is the Carlos Alcaraz section. I mean, the first seed, the defending champion, he'll face Kepler in the first round. Other notable names in his section: Cameron Norrie as a 16th seed, Evans is 26th, Griekspoor is the 24th. There's also Kokinakis over there, interesting character at least. Do you think that any one of those guys or Jordan Thompson can pose a threat to Carlos Alcaraz in this this opening week of the US Open?
To be honest, I think that maybe Dan Evans can be an uncomfortable match. Dan Evans usually plays well at the US Open, but I'm not really seeing Dan Evans beating Alcaraz, even if I think that it can be an uncomfortable match. We knew that Evans was 1 point away from taking out, for example, Wawrinka in 2016. Which can still be a regret for some Novak Djoković fans. But he has also been in the second week 2 years ago. I think that he won in Washington. I think that Dan Evans is the most dangerous name, even for the fact that he plays some kind of different tennis style. Being able to change things during the match. I still think that Alcaraz will be in the quarterfinal, and I think that probably the quarterfinal would be his most dangerous round in his path to to the US Open final.
Yeah, quarterfinals.
Exactly. If we saw.
We can see that section on the screen.
Yeah.
Should be either Yannick Sinner or Alexander Zverev.
Yeah,
but
should be.
Let me hear you. What do you think about this section?
Yeah, it's a very good section because we also have some players like Wawrinka, Dimitrov, Murray. It's an interesting section. I think that Zverev and Sinner are dangerous guys. I'm still expecting Sinner to be in the quarterfinal because I think that he is in the right road to do very well. And then I think that if he's going to face Alcaraz in the quarterfinal, it won't be easy at all for Alcaraz. Because of simply because of the fact that Sinner has and this is an amazing thing for me, has literally zero, let's say, fear or, he doesn't feel anything going on the court against Alcaraz, and that's the most curious thing. And then he's able to put pressure on Alcaraz's shoulders. We saw the head-to-head is 3-3 with always tight battles. I'm still giving Sinner an edge in this section over Zverev, which is still this year a little bit inconsistent. And then I think that it won't be an easy match of course, for both. If, for example, Alcaraz and Sinner goes on to meet each other in the quarterfinals, I think that there are obstacles. Yes. But I don't know. My prediction: Yannick Sinner is going deep in this U.S. Open.
What do you think about Carlos Alcaraz's? I don't know how to phrase this. Mental strength, mentality. His head basically heading into this tournament. I mean, this will be the first time that he will defend a Grand Slam title. He is the still number one ranked player in the world. That will change as soon as Novak wins his first round. I mean, after the US Open, he'll take the number one place again if he wins his opening round, which we all think he will. And also, one interesting thing about the US Open, since 2008, when Roger Federer won his fifth consecutive US Open title, no one was able to defend his throne. There wasn't no two consecutive titles won by anybody. No Roger again, no Rafa, nor Novak, not even Andy Murray. What do you think about that phenomenon in general, and how will that affect Carlitos?
Can Alcaraz break the course? Yes, definitely, in my opinion. I still think that he can, let's say, suffer a little bit, but we know how strong he is in this aspect also of the game. I think that 85-90% of other players, for example, would have lost, and not 6-3, but maybe 6-love or 6-1, that third set against Djokovic in Cincinnati. And we all know what happened. He is amazing. I have no fears when it comes to him. But I think that he is beatable. And I think that some players can go into that with no pressure and going to play a good tennis against him. And I still think it's possible. And so that's why I received a bit of a criticism yesterday. I saw that I don't want to talk the US Open final. Everyone is kind of hoping. I saw between Djokovic and Alcaraz but I'm talking this not only for Alcaraz, but even for Djokovic. It's too far, 12 matches away, with a lot of other guys going to do anything in their power to avoid this to happen. And so I just think that Alcaraz, of course, will have a lot of pressure, but in some way I also think that having won Wimbledon, it's kind of easier. It would have been more difficult if he arrived here not having won any other Grand Slam title, so having of course 100% to defend this title. Having won Wimbledon, probably the pressure is a little bit less. Not even the number one in the ranking on the line, probably, because it's not on the line. It doesn't depend from him, because if Novak wins today, Novak is going to be number one. If Novak loses today, Alcaraz is going to stay at number one, regardless of his result. So there's not even this kind of pressure. Of course, there's going to be the pressure of being the defending champion of a Grand Slam title. US Open, it's always been difficult. But I think that he can play really, really well.
Okay, let's wrap this episode up by giving our official predictions. So, who is your pick to win this year's US Open?
I'm
Drum roll.
I'm suggesting by saying Daniil Medvedev.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, guys, we had some technical difficulties. Mario had to switch to his phone because his computer died all of a sudden. Hopefully, everything will be okay with the computer.
Yeah, maybe I know why he was dying. The laptop is protesting because I was going to say Novak Djokovic. I was saying another name, and so the laptop.
Yeah, he didn't want to fit, but literally, your screen froze when you said Daniil Med, so that the computer don't want you to say that. So let us hear you again. Who is your official pick as the US Open?
My official pick is Daniil Medvedev because I'm going to buy the story of being something special between him and this tournament.
Yeah, we know the fish celebrations, the victory, his first ever Grand Slam in 2021. Unfortunately for us Novak fans, so yeah, it's a reasonable pick. I'm gonna be a homer again. I'm gonna pick Novak, not only because I really want him to win, but just because of that victory and the way that Cincinnati final unfolded. I think he's going very relaxed, into this tournament. Again, we're going to the best of 5, which again we all thought that he's unbeatable in the best of 5 until Carlos won in Wimbledon. So yeah, my pick is Novak. Moving on to
super reasonable and understand.
Yeah, surprise. Okay, who would be your dark horse pick in this tournament?
Yeah, as I said, I don't know what you really mean as dark horse, but I'm going to pick Davidovich Fokina as a dark horse. I don't know if it's allowed because he's still a seeded player.
In my definition of dark horse,
an unseeded player.
I think no, not only that. I think that he wouldn't be a dark horse. He would more be an surprise or an overachiever. Dark horse, again, this is just my opinion and the way I see it.
Okay, so let's say I'm going to go bold and stay with my Jack Draper prediction if his glass body will want to.
Okay, my dark horses, again, someone that I really think could make a very deep run, and I'm thinking semifinals, maybe even in some lunacy world, even the finals, would be either Tommy Paul or Hubert Hurkacz. I honestly have a good deal of faith in both of those guys. Tommy Paul more than Hurkacz. I honestly see Tommy Paul facing Novak in the semifinals, but I also think that Hurkacz can make a very, very, very deep run. A possible potential overachiever for you. Who would you say? Who would you go with?
Overachiever. I'm going to say. Having watched this summer of tennis, I'm going to say that Casper Ruud can be an overachiever. Not that it's going to be a shock seeing him, for example, in, let's say, the semis, for example. But given how the summer has been, it's going to be kind of a surprise.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to work on our, definitions of dark horses and underachievers for the next tournament.
Yeah, I mean, overachiever. I was meaning I was
Overachiever.
reading, for example, all people think that his player, and reasonably, this player is not going to have a deep run in this tournament. But I still think that he can. He will surprise everyone and go over what is expected.
Okay, I kind of get that. Again, in my definition of overachiever, I think I would put somebody like Stan Wawrinka, who is my pick to overachieve this tournament. Somebody that most people think will lose in either first round or second round tops. So that's the name that I'm picking. That's the player that I'm
Let's say,
picking.
for example, Mackenzie McDonald can
Exactly.
have a very good US Open run.
That would be a good pick of somebody overachieving. And finally, underachievers.
Let's say that I think Raonic can surprise all the people and beat Tsitsipas.
Yeah.
Seems in danger. Yeah, probably I'm going to go for that.
That was also my pick, Stefanos Tsitsipas as the underachiever for this year's edition of the US Open. Holger Rune was another name, but if I had to pick one, it would be Stefanos Tsitsipas. Okay, before we go, I wanted to add a comment about our new website. Unfortunately, due to some technical issues, let's say like it's gonna take a bit longer to launch. So apologies for that. If anyone cared for that, I know I said that launch should be during this week, but again, it will take a bit longer, probably into the second week of US Open, or even after the US Open. So that's something I wanted to add. Also, we'll be doing match reports every day when Novak plays on this tournament. So we hope that you guys are gonna read that as well. And yeah, that's it. That will be it for today's episode. I honestly hope you guys like it. Mario, I want to thank you for joining me again, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, NoleFam, and idemo.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Bye, buddy.